everybody. Welcome to our brand new series on traditional industries. So in case you missed the intro episode, we're going to be talking to small business leaders in the area who are working in traditional industries but have exceptional stories. So our first guest is Alex Villafranca, the CEO of Arbeit Software. And we're going to talk to Alex about how he came to the idea for Arbeit Software and what it's like running a small business in Buffalo. So Alex, tell us about your background.
Okay. I used to own a collection agency. Well, I guess before that, my brothers were always in collections. I was working at Burger King, 7-Eleven, and they were making a lot more money than I was. So one year I decided to say, oh, hey, let me get a job doing that. When I started to, I was going to ECC at the time, and I was like, oh, let me get a job in collections. Maybe I can do it part-time and make some money. So I did that. I started working as a collector part-time, and I did really well for some reason at it. Within the first couple months, I was the top collector in the office, and then I continued to be the top collector for a year straight. I was making a lot of money. I was, only working part-time, and I was doing better than people that were working full-time. But so when I was doing that, I was thinking, oh, this is so easy. It felt so easy for me to do it. So I thought, oh, I could start my own collection agency. This must be easy. So I started asking people their questions about how to do it, and one thing led to another. Opened a collection agency. At the collection agency, Alonzo, who was also a partner and founded the collection agency with me, would always do things to save us money, like make our own phone system, and just different, host our own servers and stuff. So we were using an auto dialer, a competitor at the time, and I don't know, we used it for years, and at one point Alonzo was like, we could probably make our own auto dialer. So we ended up hiring Alan, who's another founder of Arbeit, who lives in Brazil, a friend of ours who we met playing World of Warcraft online, and we hired him. He coded the dialer, and we didn't want to own a collection agency anymore, so we closed it and opened Arbeit.
Awesome. So you kind of touched on this a little bit during your story, but what was like one main problem that you were looking to solve when you started Arbeit?
Yeah, I guess it was. I don't even know if I don't think we thought of it that way. Hindsight, you can look back and say, oh, there was a problem that we were solving, but when we were doing it, we weren't necessarily trying to. I mean, our own problem was we wanted to save money. And, I don't know, we didn't realize that was a problem in the industry or anything. It's not like we, but we were hosting servers and like making these phone systems for other collection agencies. A lot of other collection agencies took to us. They trusted us. We were just, collections isn't the most tech-forward industry because of all the regulations. It's behind a little bit. So people trusted us, and then we had this reputation as being like tech people in the industry. So then when we made our own dialer, people heard and they were like, oh, let me use it, let me use it, let me use it. So we started letting people use it, and it was just like, well, people like it, so let's just do this full time. So yeah, I guess in hindsight though, if I look back and say what problems were we solving, I mean, there was just like a lack of, cost was a big thing at that point. I mean, when we launched it, like people were paying like 5, 6, 7 cents a minute for like auto dialers. And years before that, when auto dialers were started to come out, I remember I talked to different sales reps that worked at our competitors at the time, and they were saying like they were charging like 13 cents a minute, like when they first became popular. That's crazy. So cost was a big thing. Just like a fun brand. Looking back, like people watching that know Arbeit in the collection space, maybe we have a different brand, very unique brand. You both obviously know that because you guys make it. And so I think there was a need for that, just like a breath of fresh air, breath of, something fun and different.
So you kind of make it sound easy to just say, oh, this is working well, let's start a business. And I'm sure it wasn't that easy at the time, but for anyone who might be thinking about starting their own business or seeing a problem, they might be thinking about the risks more than just, oh, okay, let's start a business. So were there any risks at the time? I know you said you had people coming to you who wanted to use a dialer, but...
There were some risks. Like the collection agency was good. It wasn't, I mean, we weren't the greatest at owning a collection agency. So when we decided to shut that down, it's not like we were shutting down something that was like the greatest thing in the world. Like, oh my God, how could you just shut down a super successful business to start something? So it was kind of easy, like just to do it, but that's just kind of also our personality. Like, I mean, we didn't really have anything to lose to start it. It was just like, well, sure, let's try it. But I guess that's kind of mine and Alonzo's specifically, our personality is just, let's just try it. And if it doesn't work, great. We'll figure it out and we'll fix it and we'll make it work. But I think that's, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like people always talk about different businesses that they want to start and they make it harder than it is on themselves, but that's just in their own head. There's, they just have to do it. And yeah, so just do it.
Do you think that's a personality trait that you can change, or do you think you're just born that way?
I don't know. I don't know. We take all those personality tests, so can you change those? I don't know if you can change them. I think you can. I mean, that's obvious. Yeah, I'm sure you can just, as you just do things and start to realize, oh, that wasn't so bad, or oh, that failing wasn't such a big deal because I learned so much. Then yeah, I think you can probably change it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like more risk averse because they're afraid of failure.
Yeah.
So how did you like define success when you started, and then like what do you define success as now as the business has grown so much?
When we first started, we defined success on our weekly billing. And I remember us we did really well our first year, so, and it just took off right away. We got so right place, right time. From day one, we were just going crazy. We had so many people using the dialer right away. We were bringing in more revenue than we ever did in our collection agency in our first year and with Arbeit. So yeah, I guess that was how we defined success at the beginning was, is this a business? At the end of the day, like a business is, to make a profit. But now I guess that's changed a little bit. How we define success is obviously you have to make a profit, but I think to us, to me, and to everybody here really, but people are just as important as profit. So for us, success is like kind of how many benefits we can offer people here. And that may be some canned response, but really like it is for me. When we offer something new, I really like, it makes me feel really good. So, obviously, again, at the end of the day, like we are profitable, the company's profitable, and if it's not profitable, you can't offer those great things because you just wouldn't be open. No one, who's going to pay to keep the lights on? But you don't have to keep all the profits for yourself. You can share them. So that's really how I guess we define success. And there's no measurement of that. We just, I don't know, are people happy here? I think so. I hope so. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to like define success as you grow. There's also like business results that come from people being happy.
Yeah.
So that always helps. But I think like you could definitely tell, I don't know, just from me working here, that like it's not all about the bottom line like 100% of the time. We want people to do their best work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's other aspects of like defining success. Like it feels really good to go into an office and solving their problems. So that's having a product that like somebody really wants, and like they're like, oh my God, I love that. That's success too. Like that feels really good. And that's something that we're trying to get much better at. Over the years, we've tried to really focus on that. So hearing that from clients, again, if we hear that from people, that is success. So there's like three, I guess those would be like the three different things really. Everyone's happy that works here and they're treated well and like, love it. Clients love our products, and then being profitable as a company.
So on the flip side of that, what would you say are the biggest challenges you can point to since you started the company? And would you say those have changed similar to how your definition of success has changed?
The biggest challenges were probably is finding good people. I mean, everyone says that, but it's the truth. It's really, really hard to find good people, and I mean, we're in this 6-7 years now, and we still struggle finding good people, and it's like when we're doing a really good job of it. Obviously, like, slowly but surely we're getting to this really good core team of people. But yeah, so that would probably be a big one. Let's see, what's another challenge? Developing things, like, in general. It's not as easy as something, like, I'm not a coder or anything, and so thinking, oh, let's make this new product seems trivial. Like, just go type some stuff and bada bing, bada boom. It's not. It takes a very, very long time, a ton of research, a ton of prep, and it's super, super complicated. So trying to, do that, and not only do that, but be able to, like, plan around it, like knowing how long things are going to take, stuff like that. And the same can be said for every department, really. There's, like, a challenge like that in every department. Sales, it looks easy from an outsider's perspective. You just walk in and buy our product, and it's not. It's very, same with marketing. Like, you just post a bunch of cool ads and people buy stuff. Like, there's so much more behind it. So I guess, like that, because we didn't have any experience with this stuff. I didn't go to school for business or anything. I mean, I just have an associate's degree, that's it. So, like, learning kind of was a challenge in every department. Like, learning what actually goes into everything behind the fluff that you just see, So I guess, yeah.
And you kind of touched on earlier how, you can learn from your mistakes, and like being, willing to take risks kind of benefits you in the long run. So can you kind of talk about the mistakes that you've made along the way? Or if there's any, like, one that sticks out in particular?
Yeah. So a particular product, I mean, one of our products now, a lot of people like it, Arbeit Click, and when we have people using it, and it's a product that people like, and it's successful, but this would be our biggest mistake, I think, because we missed the mark on everything that product needed to capture the entire audience that we wanted to capture with it. So we kind of rushed into that, and we thought we knew what people wanted, and we only knew what a certain specific group of people wanted. We didn't really, like, look across the whole entire industry, and we didn't put as much effort into that as we do now. I mean, now, we try to put a lot of effort into that, figuring out what exactly people want. So that was our biggest mistake, and what we learned from it was, you need to spend more time actually figuring out what people want, doing a ton of research. People say they want one thing, and in reality they want something else. So really, like, that's something that you learn. Like, a client will say, hey, I want this feature on this product. And when you first get into it, like, okay, sure, of course, they want that feature, so make that feature. But in reality, they might be asking for that feature because of a specific problem, and that feature isn't probably the best solution to their problem. So you want to figure out what the root problem is, and then kind of build maybe that is the right feature for it, but most of the time it's not. There's probably a different solution that's way better that can be implemented to solve that other problem. So that would probably be our biggest mistake that we made.
And for a small business that might not have the resources to hire someone to do market research, what did you do at the beginning to find out what your customers wanted, other than when they came to you directly?
Well, we weren't that great at it at the beginning. So I would say hire somebody as soon as possible. Like, it's very hard for people to not do it, though, because that position doesn't have a direct input on, like, your revenue. I think it's easy for people to hire, like, salespeople because they directly correlate to revenue. But positions that don't directly correlate to revenue, it's always hard to hire somebody. But I mean, we did do things like we were everyone in the company is constantly talking to people and giving feedback. So just really asking questions to people in the organization that talk to the customers, taking input from everybody in the company, support, sales, marketing, anyone that talks to a customer. So we would interview customers and we would, talk to them and get different, get input from them, go to conferences, go to trade shows, listen to the questions people are asking, because those questions probably, shed a lot of light on what their problems are. So I would say that would be what I would suggest. Just talk and ask your customers. But once you start doing that, you're going to realize that it's a full-time job. So either devote a lot of your time to it or start doing it, figure out a system, and then hire somebody to do it. I would say, yeah.
Can you share how most of the customers find Arbeit? And I guess how that's kind of changed throughout the history of the company?
Yeah. So, well, people might be wondering why we're, I guess, an untraditional industry, because, it's a software company. Maybe it's not untraditional, but who we sell to is very untraditional. Our prime, when we opened, the only customers we had was collection agencies. So that was a huge, going back to challenge, that was a huge challenge. Although we didn't realize it was a challenge until our 4th year, because the first 3 years we didn't have to look for customers. They came to us. We got people really liked us, liked who we were, what we stood for, how we were fair with customers, and they liked us, they trusted us, so they were just refer people to us like crazy. And really for the first, multiple years, that was really all we did. And then you would kind of leverage that, and we had sales reps that would then, that's what they would do, is they would go out, hang out with their customers and get referrals from them, make sure that they were happy, ask for referrals and such, and that continued again for another year or two. And then, recently we've started to do a lot of different things, as you two know, because you guys created them, on how to reach out to and reach different types of customers. But trade shows has been good. And let's see. You find different, you have your lists, create a list of leads, whatever. We use different software. You can use LinkedIn, we use like Zoom Info. You find like a persona that you want to target, and you find those people and you just spend a lot of time researching them. You, Tracy, spend multiple hours before every month going to each lead's list or LinkedIn and seeing, is this a good customer? So I guess when you're in a niche industry like us and in an untraditional type market, you don't get the luxury, and I don't even know if this is true in an industry that's not like this, because I never worked in one, but I know that we don't get the luxury of just downloading a lead list and going to town on them,
right?
Because it just doesn't work. So you have to prep that, and there's a lot of manual labor involved in it. That's something that we do now, and it's been working. But trade shows is great in a small industry, and at those trade shows, doing unique things to not, to stand out. Again, and we were lucky in the collections industry. Not to knock any of the other vendors, but it was just, it's a highly regulated, businessy, formal industry. Wasn't a lot of fun brands in that industry before we were there.
Yeah.
So we really hung our hat on that. We stood out from the crowd, and that allowed us to generate customers that way. But relationships is still something that we still hang our hat on, and referrals is still our biggest lead source, I think. So there's, I guess,
Yeah.
So Buffalo is known for having a lot of debt collection agencies, but was there a reason why you chose to build your business here in Buffalo?
No, just because we're here. We have an office in Brazil, and that was just a fluke too, because Alan lives there and he's from Brazil. So, yeah, Buffalo's nice though. I don't, it's just a nice area. The cost of, living is low. I don't know if we would have been able to succeed in New York City or Silicon Valley, because salaries are crazy. Like I can only imagine it would be like 4 times, 3 times what people make here they make in those areas, I think. So I think it would have been really hard to do that. But I don't know if it's negatively affected us in any way. I don't think it has. But we do have, again, an extra benefit because we have the office in Brazil and here. So, and we, for like the development team, we can hire in either place. So, if we can't find somebody here, we can find them in Brazil and vice versa. So that's helped. But
briefly, can you share about what your recruitment strategy is? Because there's more and more articles coming out about how Buffalo is becoming a tech hub, and they're having a really hard time finding enough employees to fill those roles because Buffalo is more of a blue-collar city.
Yeah.
So how do you find good people? And
it's hard. It's still a trouble. It's hard, but how you got to be patient. That's for sure. You can't rush into it. So being patient is really, you're not going to put an ad up and then 2 weeks later have the best candidate in the world unless you get super lucky. But we only recently started to focus on this, and AP and Candace have both kind of taken over the recruiting, and they're reaching out to people who they think might be interested in the position, asking them, sharing information with them. But I mean, we make kind of what we do here is pretty public. We're pretty transparent. So if you go to our website or go to our Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, you have a pretty good idea of what the company's like. I think we share everything. So that indirectly leads to people like realizing who we are, what we do. I mean, you too get messages saying that I want to work at your company. People message me asking me. So like sharing, I guess, that just being transparent about everything that you do, and kind of letting people from the outside see what it's like to work here has helped. But that's still something that's hard, and I don't think it ever gets easy finding good people, because that's like the biggest challenge. Any company says that, and
if you could give one piece of advice to an aspiring business owner, what would it be?
I have no idea. Just do it, and you don't need money to do it. When we started, we didn't start with, we started the company with the collection agency, we started with $3,000. So it's that's money, obviously, but I think when people think they are going to start a business, they think they need $500,000, $1 million, and it's unfortunately gotten worse now because of just this startup type atmosphere that everyone's in, and they're like, I got to raise all this money, and I think it's just bad. So, and for multiple reasons, but the biggest reason is we were able to make mistakes when we started and they were small mistakes because we didn't have a lot of money, So if our sales strategy wasn't the greatest, wasn't a big deal. We had one sales rep, we didn't lose that much money. If we were some company that took on all these investors or something on our third year, and we had tried to scale and we made a mistake going into that, that's, now you have 100 sales reps and it's multiple millions of dollars of a mistake. So I think that, and it's less stressful then, it's easy to try things when there's not a lot at stake. So I say this a lot, but I think because we started with no money, and I think that's helped us kind of get to where we are, because we were able to make mistakes, weren't high stress mistakes, and it allowed us to learn as we kind of went. So I think that was good for us. So I guess that would be it. Yeah.
Nice. So with this series, we're trying to put Buffalo on the map, and Buffalo is known for its wings.
Oh.
So where would you, if someone saw this video and said, "Oh, I should check out Buffalo," where would you tell them to get wings?
I don't know. I haven't had wings in so long.
You don't eat chicken wings?
No, only certain places I can eat them.
Oh, right.
But let's see. Duff's used to be my favorite a long time ago, but they kind of changed. I feel like they've gotten worse. So I don't know. I would honestly I really like John's Pizzeria chicken wings. It's like a generic
that?
one. John's Pizza. It's all over. It's like a chain. So
I've never
there's
heard of
one
that.
on
North French.
North French. Yeah, there's
Oh.
one on. Yeah, there's one around here somewhere, but I like their wings. So, but yeah, that would be I guess those.
All right, cool. Well, thanks everyone for watching. And make sure you subscribe to this channel. And if you want to know more about appearing as a guest on this series, I'll link an email below. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming, Alex. See you
It was a long
next time.
drive.